Okay, so think about it. We see hundreds, maybe even thousands of ads every single day. But how many of them do we actually see, like really break down? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dissect the anatomy of an ad. We'll get into the hidden science and the strategy that goes into persuading you and me. You know, it might look simple on the surface, but behind every single ad, I'm talking everything from that huge Super Bowl commercial to the little banner ad you ignore on a web page, there is this incredibly complex machine at work. It's so much more than just a clever slogan. It's a carefully engineered piece of communication that's part art, part science, and you guessed it, all strategy.
So, before we dive into all the cool psychological tricks and the creative wizardry, let's just start with the absolute basics. What exactly is advertising? Because, its job is actually way bigger than just trying to sell you something.
The real keywords to focus on here are persuade or influence. See, an ad's main goal isn't always to get you to hit that buy now button. Sometimes it's just trying to make you think differently about a brand. Or maybe it's just planting a tiny seed in your mind so that the next time you're in the store, you almost instinctively reach for their product instead of the one right next to it. It's all about strategic influence.
A good way to think about advertising is like a Swiss Army knife for a business. Sometimes a tool's only job is to inform you that a new phone is coming out next Tuesday. Other times it's there to persuade you that its camera is, without a doubt, the best one on the market. And sometimes, like with a classic Coca-Cola ad, it's just there to remind you of that feeling you get when you think of the brand. It's building an identity just as much as it's trying to generate demand. All right, so how does a simple idea blossom into a massive ad campaign? Well, I can tell you it's not magic. Before a single camera rolls or one word of copy is written, every single effective ad starts with a really detailed strategic blueprint. This right here, this is the roadmap. This is what every ad follows, and it always starts with the big questions. What's our goal here? Who exactly are we talking to? And, maybe most importantly, how much money can we spend? You have to absolutely nail those fundamentals. The objective, the audience, and the budget, long before you ever get to the fun part of coming up with a big idea and actually making the thing. And speaking of that budget, it gets carved up very, very carefully. Now here's something that might surprise you. The biggest slice of the pie, often half the entire budget, doesn't even go to making the ad. Nope, it goes to placing the ad, making sure it gets right in front of your eyes. That's what we call media buying. The rest is split between coming up with the creative idea, the actual production, and all the research that makes it work.
Okay, so the strategy is set. Now for the really fascinating part. How do advertisers actually persuade us? This is where the art truly meets the science. It's where psychology comes into play, with techniques designed to connect with us on a much deeper and often a totally subconscious level.
So advertisers basically have two main levers they can pull: your head or your heart. A rational appeal speaks directly to your brain. It uses logic, data, a whole list of benefits. Think of a car ad that's all about fuel efficiency and safety ratings. An emotional appeal, on the other hand, goes straight for your feelings. It uses stories and powerful images to forge a connection. Let's look at a few of the most common emotional appeals they use. First up, the fear appeal. And wow, this one is incredibly powerful. Think about an ad for a home security system. It might show a shadowy figure lurking outside a window, creating this immediate sense of threat and urgency. And then, of course, what does it do? It presents its product as the perfect, easy solution to make all that fear just go away.
Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we've got humor. The goal here is pretty simple: make you laugh, right? Think of all those hilarious insurance commercials or fast food ads. By being super entertaining, they become way more memorable, and you start to build this positive, friendly feeling with the brand itself.
Next up is what we call the bandwagon appeal. This one taps directly into our deep-seated fear of missing out, FOMO. So when an ad says something like, "Join the millions of satisfied customers," or it shows literally everyone using a certain smartphone, it's using social proof to make you feel like, hey, I need to be part of that group too.
And of course, there's the celebrity endorsement. This one is all about transference. The idea is that by using a famous athlete or a beloved actor, the brand can kind of borrow some of their credibility and their cool factor. We admire that person, so we start to feel like some of that trust and aspiration can be transferred over to the product they're holding.
So we have the blueprint and we have the psychological tools. Now let's talk about how all these different pieces actually get put together into the final product that we see, the ad itself.
This breaks down what you might call the verbal architecture of an ad, and you can think of it like a funnel. The headline, that's the wide opening at the top. It has one job and one job only: grab your attention. The subheadline gives you a little more context. Then, the body copy is where the real persuasive work happens. And it all narrows down to that final crucial point, the call to action, which gives you a super clear, simple command. Buy now, learn more, sign up today.
So who are the masterminds putting all this together? Well, that's where advertising agencies come in. They are the expert teams of specialists. You've got strategists, creatives, media buyers, the whole crew. They handle the entire process, from the very first bit of research all the way to getting that final campaign out into the world.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second, because advertising doesn't just exist in its own little bubble. It has a massive, and I mean massive, impact on our world, far beyond just buying and selling stuff.
On a huge macro level, advertising is a powerful economic engine. When a company advertises a new product, it drums up demand, and that demand leads to more sales, which lets the company grow, hire more people, and it even pushes their competitors to innovate. It's this whole cycle of growth.
Socially, its impact is just profound. Advertising can literally shape our perceptions, it can reinforce social norms, and it reflects our cultural values right back at us. But, on the flip side, it can also perpetuate harmful stereotypes or promote unhealthy behaviors, which is a pretty major responsibility for the industry to grapple with.
And because advertising is so influential, it definitely doesn't get to just do whatever it wants. There are very strict laws in place designed to protect all of us from false or misleading claims. You can't just say your product cures a disease if it doesn't, and the consequences for crossing that line can be incredibly severe. And that brings us to ethics. This is where the really hard questions come in. Is it okay to target vulnerable groups, like kids? Is it ethical to promote products that could be harmful to people or the planet? These are the tough, ongoing debates that advertisers have to navigate all the time.
And the reason this all matters so much is the sheer scale of it all. Just think about this number for a second. Over 90%. That's the estimated percentage of people in connected societies who are exposed to ads every single day. It's not just common, it's practically part of the air we breathe.
So, I guess here's the big takeaway. An ad is never just an ad. It is a carefully constructed product of strategy, psychology, and creativity. And hopefully, the next time one pops up, you'll be able to see the blueprint underneath it all. You'll spot the emotional appeal they're using. You'll see the structure of the copy, and you'll understand the real goal it's trying to achieve. So, what do you think? Will you see them differently now?